figs have had a reputation for lowering blood sugar for decades, the easy answer is that figs contain quite a bit of fiber. However, research is pointing to a substance in figs called abscisic acid. This is something I think you're going to be hearing a lot about in the future, so let's take a look at the evidence. So abscisic acid is actually a hormone that's present in both plants and humans. In plants, it actually acts as a stress hormone. Abscisic acid levels go up when the environment is not very conducive to growing, so abscisic acid actually inhibits the growth of plants until the environment is optimal. It promotes the storage of carbs and fats and proteins in seeds, again, basically storing away nuts for the winter. It protects the plants from water loss, and abscisic acid is even involved in the aging process of plants, causing the leaves to detach from the plant as the leaves get old. Now, in people, abscisic acid is actually made in the beta cells of the pancreas, the same cells that make insulin. Fat cells also make this substance. It stimulates the release of insulin from the pancreas, although abscisic acid also appears to reduce blood sugar independently of insulin. Other lines of research have also shown that this substance plays a role in immune function and even reduces inflammation. As you can see, abscisic acid is also present in several foods, such as, yes, figs, but also apricots, black peppers got it, cucumbers, bananas, etc. But as you can see from this table, food only contains trace amounts of abscisic acid. For example, from this table you can see that you'd have to eat over 2 pounds of avocados to get a measly 2 milligrams of abscisic acid. Okay, so what is the actual proof for this stuff as it relates to lowering blood sugar, and how much might work if you were trying to lower your blood sugar levels? In this study, 10 healthy men and women were given abscisic acid for 75 days at a dosage of 1 microgram per kilogram of body weight. So the dosage here was actually based on how much each person weighed. The more they weighed, the more they got. The supplement ingredient specifically tested in this investigation was called GSEC M50. Why they picked that name, I have no idea, but it contained 55 micrograms of abscisic acid per tablet. So, what happened? So, I've highlighted the percent reductions in yellow, but let's take a closer look at the numbers. So after 75 days of taking abscisic acid, fasting blood sugar declined by about 20%, dropping from about 92 down to 73 milligrams per deciliter. Hemoglobin A1C, which is a marker of the average blood sugar over the past 3 months, also went down a little bit from about 5.3 down to 5%. Total cholesterol dropped actually a lot, from 207 down to 175. As for body mass index, well, it only went down a little bit, and I doubt if most people would notice a difference. Although waist circumference, however, went from 87 centimeters down to 82 centimeters, that's about a 2-inch reduction, so that's a more meaningful outlook in my book. And finally, abscisic acid was also reported to reduce the overall risk of heart disease by about 17%, dropping the risk from around 3.5 down to just under 3. So overall, not too bad, but I would like to point out here that the people in this investigation were eating a healthy Mediterranean diet. This study took place in Italy, and a lot of them do eat Mediterranean diet out there, so that makes sense. But it also made me wonder what would happen if people took abscisic acid and ate the standard American diet, which isn't so healthy. And the other thing I would point out is that there was no placebo group in this investigation, and that's also a downside, in addition to the fact that it only had 10 people. In this next study, 10 healthy people consumed a beverage containing either 4 different amounts of fig extract, which contained either 40 micrograms or 80 micrograms of abscisic acid. The researchers then had them consume a sugary beverage to see what happened to their blood sugar levels, and they reported that the higher dose of fig extract containing 80 micrograms reduced blood sugar by about 25%, and insulin levels then also declined by about 24%. Now, the lower dose of abscisic acid, 40 micrograms, also appeared to reduce insulin levels by about 15%, although they also said that the reductions in blood sugar weren't clinically significant. So overall, some interesting results in this investigation, but the study also has some drawbacks, including everybody was healthy, nobody had diabetes or prediabetes, and nobody was overweight. There was no placebo group, and again, this is a small study only having 10 people. We then come to this investigation, which I think is better. It's a 3-month investigation involving 60 men and women who actually might benefit from this supplement. These people had pre-diabetes. So the people in this investigation took either a placebo or a total of 2,000 milligrams, 2 grams, of abscisic acid each day, once at breakfast and again at lunch and also at dinner. But things also in this study get a little bit confusing because they don't actually tell us the name of the supplement they're using, and more importantly, what was the dosage of the abscisic acid that was used? Was it actually 2 grams, 2,000 milligrams? If yes, that's a lot more than previous investigations where the abscisic acid dosage was measured in micrograms. So regardless of that fuzziness, here's the before and after numbers. So we can see that at the beginning of this study, almost 40% of the people who were taking abscisic acid had impaired fasting blood glucose levels. That number then dropped to 20% after taking abscisic acid for 3 months. Impaired glucose tolerance dropped from about 61% down to 53% of the people after taking this supplement for 3 months. And equally interesting is that 26% of the people had normal blood sugar levels after taking abscisic acid, and nobody taking the supplement progressed to type 2 diabetes. This is contrasted by about 7% of those taking the placebo who unfortunately did go on to develop type 2 diabetes. Now, moving on to a few frequently asked questions that you may be asking yourself about this compound. So it's hard to say what the optimal amount of abscisic acid might be because the dosages appear to be all over the place. But for now, I would say look for a supplement that has at least between 50 and 80 micrograms per serving. That should be listed on the supplement facts label. And also another question you might be wondering about is, what about diabetic neuropathy, which is a nerve condition that sometimes accompanies diabetes, especially as it gets worse. So the human studies right now are lacking, but in theory, if abscisic acid does improve diabetes symptoms, then it's possible it might improve diabetic neuropathy as well. However, at the end of the day, we just need better research. One big question here is whether abscisic acid can help people lose weight. And to that question, I would say some of the studies have shown reductions in body mass index, a little bit at least, but few of them seem to have specifically measured actual weight loss, which is weird because some investigations have lasted a few months, long enough to see if weight loss occurred. This makes me suspect that abscisic acid probably might not help people lose weight. Now, as this stuff gets popular, it's going to start showing up in supplements, and I'm going to link to one supplement that actually has it below to get you started. But you may be able to identify this stuff by noticing ABA in the name of the supplement. ABA being shorthand for abscisic acid. That's actually how it's abbreviated in some of the studies. Also, look for GSEC M50. That's a compound that's actually been tested in at least one clinical trial. And another word you could look for is ABA Life, which is another abscisic acid compound that again has been evaluated in at least one clinical trial. These names may show up on the front of the supplement package or be listed in the ingredients list. So definitely look for it if this is something you're interested in. So there you have it. There's a skinny on what we know and don't know about this fig ingredient helping to lower blood sugar. Let me know what you think below in the comments, and also if you have tried abscisic acid for yourself. Until next time, I'm Joe from supplementclarity.com. Take care.